Hey, so welcome everyone, and thank you for joining our alumni sharing section today. Before we dive in, let me give you a brief overview of today's agenda. So we will start with an introduction to the MBA program by Tom, the director of Global EMBA and the master's programs. Following that, we will be hearing directly from our CityUHK MBA graduates who came from around the world to study in Hong Kong. They will be sharing their journeys and the valuable insights that they have gained here. So, Tom, please.
Okay, so thank you very much, and thank you, Anna, and especially we want to express our gratitude to three of our alumni. They are sharing their experiences. They're supporting the community so much to the CityUHK MBA. Really, my heartfelt thank you to Chris, to Tyler, to Glenn for your support to share your experience. So it is absolutely a very valuable opportunity for someone like you thinking about or considering doing an MBA, maybe in the upcoming September, or maybe you are thinking about doing in Hong Kong, or if let's say CityUHK is one of your best options to consider for the MBA. So let me just have a very quick introductions. I know the main course tonight is the alumni sharing. Okay, so Anna will be moderating and then asking the questions, and Chris, Tyler, and Glenn will share the experience about, I do believe, about their learning experience in CityUHK. And most importantly, I think a lot of international applicants, they might want to know about the job market in Hong Kong, maybe the job culture, the work cultures in Hong Kong, or maybe the living style, expenses. Is Hong Kong a really an international city? How would we welcome the expats to stay in Hong Kong? So something like that, so they can share a bit more of their experiences. But before that, just let me have about 15 to 20 minutes time to share with you our very exciting MBA program. We did a lot of new changes, okay? So maybe by the time when Chris, Taylor, and Glenn, when you do the MBA with us, we have changed slightly now, moving to the directions of STEM, okay? That means more AI, that means more quantitative and data analytics. I just talked to one of our adjunct professors, Stephanie Shi, and she was one of the senior members and vice presidents in Alibaba. Okay, and she is the person in charge in the cloud and AI in the Alibaba business. And she was recruited as one of the professors to teach our students in the AI applications in the MBA program. So we're changing, okay? We're changing and innovating the program. And it's a 1 year full-time MBA program. Okay, so we maybe before we do the program introductions, we can still talk a little bit about doing why the reason of doing an MBA, and I will skip where to do an MBA because you are now participating in a Hong Kong MBA info session. So probably Hong Kong is one of the places you are considering now. And when you should do an MBA, that might be the questions for Glenn, for Chris, and Taylor as well. Is there any really time kind of a formula you can follow so that, oh, this is the best time for me to do an MBA? But to be honest, why MBA? And MBA is a very market, is a very career-driven kind of a program. Okay, enhancing qualifications, enhancing network, but most importantly, I think MBA really can do very important functions on three areas. I always talk about three changes, 3C: function change, industry change, and location change. Okay, so location change. Previously, maybe you stay and work in Long Hong Kong, Long Mainland China. Because of the MBA, you have the opportunity to stay back in Hong Kong, work in Asia. So that is as simple as that for the location change reason. Industry change, that means you are using an MBA program, the knowledge, the network, the exposure you gain from the MBA program. You change from IT functions, for example, to investment banking, okay? Or maybe completely something like you just want to stay in the same industry, okay? But you're moving, climbing up the career ladder. You are maybe the head of one department, but at the end, you want to be the general manager, or maybe you want to be the MD of your company. You need to know a bigger pictures of the economy of the business. So that's why you need an MBA to go through a formal business education. And also maybe for someone, okay, who did an engineering background before, or maybe a law degree, or maybe a English psychology degree, so that you can use MBA as a formal platform to go through a business systematically, go through a business education. Okay, why CityUHK MBA? But before that, in case, okay, you don't know so much about Hong Kong, okay, Hong Kong, which is we are our positioning ourselves, okay, it's because we have a very unique positions. Located in China, part of Asia, we are doing the role of the global super connector, okay, so trying to pulling in business opportunities. Hong Kong is one of the best place within Asia. So maybe you think about Singapore or Hong Kong as the hub kind of a role but Hong Kong is more famous on finance, businesses, activities. We are consistently ranked #1 for, I don't remember, for so many years by Fraser Institute, by Canada, to be one of the first, okay, #1 in the world freest economy in the world. We are very famous on our finance, okay? I'm not sure whether you know, we have 300 to 400 companies are waiting for the IPOs in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange market, okay? And last year, we got a record-breaking numbers of company establishing the family offices in Hong Kong. And I talk about the Alibaba vice president to be the adjunct professors. We just had discussions about Hong Kong would be the first place within the China territory, will allow for the stablecoin, for example, will be allowing for the RWA, the real world access, the Web 3.0. So that kind of a very unique business opportunities might be not allowed to do in China, in mainland China. Hong Kong has that unique features to be the place can have the liberty to do everything. So that's why Hong Kong is very, very competitive. And something like and some international students ask me the questions about, I always heard about the expenditure, the rental expenditures in Hong Kong is too high. But don't forget, okay? So media always trying to cover something that Hong Kong is not good at, high rental expenditure moving to Hong Kong. But don't forget about our very friendly tax system. We don't have GST. We have actually talking about the salary tax, I think within 15% or 70% annually for your salary tax. As long as you might be not earning so much to jump to another bracket, you will be charged for a very reasonable amount of tax. That would be also considered, okay, in your annual package. Don't just think about the high rental expenditure in Hong Kong as an obstacle for you to move to Hong Kong for the MBA and for your studies and for your work later on after the graduation. Talents Hub, I think we keep our society, our Hong Kong economy as competitive as possible. We are #4 in the world by IMD, is a Switzerland business school for the ranking. In case, okay, so this is the first time you know about our City University of Hong Kong. We are the #1 university in the world consecutively 2 years, 2024 and 2025, for the most international universities by the world, by the Times Higher Educations. But overall, okay, we are a top three university in Hong Kong, #7 in Asia, in general, #63 worldwide. But again, okay, I hope this is just a reference point for you. Okay, so don't join a university or don't join an MBA program just because of the ranking, just because of the number. You have to think about a lot of different factors. The kind of the students, the curriculum, career services. That would be something I would rather think you make that as the highest preference for considering a MBA program. College of Business, our business school, has changed a lot as well. Okay, so we are no longer a traditional business school focusing, for example, MBA program. We are not we changed from the direction of a traditional MBA, from case studies, from theories to simulation of business, and then practicing by going to different kind of trips or maybe doing internship, doing projects. We are now moving towards a more technology-based, innovation, STEM enriched MBA program. Okay, so thanks to our business school, we got 6 departments. Okay, so we got 6 departments. You might be a little bit surprised when you look at the 6 academic departments. So you might not be surprised on accounting, EF, management, and marketing. So every business school, they do have that kind of professors having the research on economics and finance and management and marketing and accountancy. But CTU is something different. Okay, we are technology combining the business together. 30 years ago, we already have the information systems, professors, IS, what we call the department, in our business school. 30 years ago, we already talking about the big data. So we have the decisions, analytics, and operations. We got the two oldest master's program in Hong Kong, the Master of Business Analytics and the Master of Supply Chain and Operations. So we combine all these, or I think a lot of the other university, they would put information system in the Faculty of Engineering, or maybe put that in the Faculty of Computing, supply chain operations management on a separate school, but we have a combinations within the College of Business 30 years ago. So in terms of the MBA program, we are a top 100 MBA program ranked before by The Economist, by Financial Times, but for the most recent MBA ranking by QS, the International Trade MBA ranking, we rank number 1 in Hong Kong. Okay, so very, very exciting ranking to showcase the quality of the program, 37 worldwide. And one thing you might be all surprised, including myself, we are number 1 in the world in a sub-ranking called curriculum innovation. Okay, so maybe in the next slide, we'll tell you more about that. So why CityUHK MBA? Okay, we are quantitative and STEM focused, as we talk about. We have a lot more AI and data, digitalizations, and analytics kind of elements. And 2 weeks ago, I talked to the academic program director. Okay, so he told me about all together, because he knows the academic curriculum, about more than 50% of our program now would be related to quantitative and AI. So that is a fundamental change. Okay, but as I talk about a traditional MBA, students learning from each other, coming from different backgrounds, still a lot of focusing on the case studies, Harvard Business School review, or maybe some students doing the cases from INSEAD or some other case studies. It is still there, okay? But we try to minimize that traditional MBA learning experience from 100% to now 60%. Another 40%, we expand that to STEM, 20%, and then another 20% would be the trip to UC Berkeley, Imperial, or IESE, Alibaba, or Asia, one of the top Asia university. I will explain that in the next slide. So that is the backbone of our MBA program, okay? So having quantitative, having a traditional MBA concept, people come from different backgrounds, learning from each other, doing case studies, doing case projects, along with enhancing your exposure level to UC Berkeley, to Imperial. That is what the backbone, the positioning of our MBA program. These are all the new added subjects. Some of them will be in the compulsory core curriculum, and some of them will be in options for our students. I know some students have maybe having about 7 to 10 years of work experience. They might have a question, say, hey, Tom, I don't need myself to go through or learn AI, okay? I can employ a team, I can hire a team, or even nowadays people talk about AI agents, right? Agentic AI. So I can do AI, they can do all the different kind of functions for me. I can even employ a team to do the AI in my companies, right? So you have the choices to choose more STEM and rich subjects, or you can try to do more STEM elective subjects yourself. Hands-on AI, the one project, fintech, crypto, since Hong Kong is still very finance-driven kind of economy, okay? We do a bit more AI data related to our finance subjects. Like you can see the crypto, AI blockchain, derivatives, fintech, okay? But very practical projects like hands-on AI. Within that one subject, Professor Jack now, okay, he's our adjunct professor, industry practitioners, will go through with our students in a group format, okay? 4 to 5 students will form a group, okay? You have your, let's say you have your business concept. Professor Jack now will go through with you by using maybe 4 to 5 AI tools from the scratch. Till the end, you can have a very proper marketing presentations in front of the angel investors. So this is the concept of hands-on AI, very applications based. Okay, innovation and disciplinary discovery is an elective subjects. We are inviting our professors who come from law faculties, material sciences, computer science, and engineering. They will do one subject together. As now, we are talking about generalists, right? Generalists, you can see the success in the world. And you can't only learn and succeed in by having business studies. Okay, so you need to learn a little bit from different areas. Okay, so that is the concept of the interdisciplinary discovery. Alumni, we have a very strong alumni profile. We are actually one of the oldest, not the youngest, sorry, one of the oldest MBA program in Hong Kong. I think maybe we're the second MBA program in Hong Kong, established in 1991. We got more than 3,000 of alumni, and this is the figures you see when they join our program. Okay, not now. Okay, they only have 6 to 7 years of work experience. We do have students who come from different nationalities and 6 to 7 years of work experience before they join the company, and different destinations on the right bottom corner, joining the McKinsey, Hong Kong Stock Exchange, Hong Kong government, Capco, Anta, Citibank, and you name it. Okay, and for your example, this is the current class. Okay, we change a bit. Okay, maybe if Chris or Glenn or Tyler, you will still remember some of our students maybe a bit younger at the time. Maybe a portion of the students when you do your MBA with us, we completely changed the class scenario from last year. A lot of the students, they have more than 7 years of work experience on average. Okay, so we will continue about having a decent, good work experience. Sometimes we cannot quantify work experience, okay, because quality is the most important. So for the full-time MBA program, you quit the job, you do the MBA fully devoted with us. We call it weekday MBA. We aim to have a bit younger MBA program for students who come from maybe on average about 3 to 7 years of work experience. So in case you don't want to quit your job, you want to do your MBA with us during the weekend, we have a weekend MBA. So that particular section of the MBA program will have a bit mature of the students who come from 7 to 15 years of work experience. But 2 programs, weekday and weekend full-time MBA program, will have an opportunity to meet with each other in some elective subjects. So basically, you can see come from different professional backgrounds, very balanced gender kind of a ratio, and with the average age about 31 years old. And talking about the curriculum, not sure are there any much changes as before, okay? But as I said, we are adding more STEM related subjects on the elective side. This is the partial list, but talking about the core MBA program, the 19 credits is like a toolkit box of an MBA. Okay, so what you expect from fintech, from information system, from managerial decisions making, from operations management, supply chain strategy, corporate finance are still there. Okay, only the changes is the directions towards digitalization, AI, and data in the elective. And this is also quite bearing. Okay, global immersive experience. You must take at least one. Okay, one global immersive experience by going to UC Berkeley in US, Imperial College in London, or maybe this year the students will go to IESE in Spain. Okay, one of the top business school in Europe. They go to Moscow, will be Alibaba for a 1-week project, doing a digitalization project. And we leave it blank at the moment as the options for students going to Asia. Okay, maybe Singapore, maybe Japan, or maybe Korea. So if you want, you can go to all 4 of the global immersive experience. Each of the subject will carry about 3 credits. So that means you have the flexibility after you do all the core subjects by choosing more STEM elective, general management elective, or enhancing your global exposure for trips to US, to Europe, to Alibaba, or in Asia. So this is also something like 1 credit, 1 day workshops, going to see the cars hopping up and down now in BYD, or you can also go to see the Hong Kong Science Park. And a little bit crazy, I know, a bit tight schedule this year. The students, they go to Central just one Friday. They visit all the 4 companies: Hong Kong Stock Exchange, Morgan Stanley, BOC, and the BNY. Okay, the senior executives talking more about the financial sector, the industry, the development, the opportunities in Hong Kong. So this is also credit bearing, but just about one credit. Okay, so you have the flexibility, okay, to make your own MBA program fit for yourself, fit for your own career aspirations. So this is something new, maybe not at the time and when our alumni are doing our MBA together. We have a new collaborations with Cambridge University last year. Okay, so if you pay attention to the development of the CityUHK, we signed more than 80 MOUs with the Cambridge University. And one of the MOU is the one you are seeing on the slide for the dual master's degree option. Okay, so you have the opportunity to go to Cambridge University Judge Business School for a 1-year Master of Finance without paying the tuition fees. We, from the business school, will be the sponsor, and even partial living expenses will be sponsored by our business school as well. But what is the criteria? Before you join the MBA program, you need 3 years of finance work experience, number one. Number two, you need to do well in your sector A in terms of your GPA, in terms of your grade point average. Number three, you got the nominations by the College of Business in the City University of Hong Kong. Number four, you need to get past the interview by the Cambridge University. Okay, so we got about 5 to 6 quota for the MBA students to go for this excellent option. You got 2 degrees, you can access to 2 very good alumni network, you have a 2 master's qualification. A lot of these MBA students also ask the questions about incubation, entrepreneurship. Do we have that ecosystem? Yeah, we do, but in university level, not in the MBA level. We have the Hong Kong Tech 300, our IP ecosystem, helping the students for a very good kind of incubating the startup. We have a whole floor in the CBD of Hong Kong in Admiralty. So if in case you are interested to learn more, we can talk more, okay, about the entrepreneurship later. Okay, I know I'm running out of the time, and very importantly, two or three small more slides is a career report. Okay, this is the class of the 2024 report. We are going to do the survey for the 2025 class in around March, April. Okay, so when I talk in the beginning, MBA is a very career-driven master's program. Basically, the 3C, if you still remember, industry change, location change, and the function change. So 60% function change, 60% location change, industry change, with about majority of the alumni, they stay back in the Greater Bay Area. Okay, when they come in a very diverse set of the industry, same, they will also go and plug out of the MBA program, they join a different sector post-MBA program. So it's a very good career report. Starting from this year, okay, actually starting from this year cohort, we changed the career services. We no longer have an in-house person to do the career services. Based on our previous experience, it's not perfect, okay? It would not be as good as now we work with a headhunter. Okay, we employ and we hire a professional headhunter or recruiters to do all the 8 workshops you can see, from the career and job search skills enhancement to the personal branding, kind of a soft skill enhancement workshops as well, trying to groom our MBA students' personalities, the way they react, they do the interview, and how do they make the networking, and most importantly, mock interview. Okay, and the wonderful advantage is that we work with a headhunter. They have a lot of job opportunities, so they can match our students with good internship and full-time jobs. So that's why this is a very good important changes in the MBA program. And in case you don't know, after you finish your MBA program, your full-time MBA program, you can allowed to stay on the left bottom corner. You can see stay and work in Hong Kong with a 2 years IANG visa. That means after the graduations of the MBA program, you don't need the company to sponsor you a work permit or work visa. Okay, you have your own 2 years visa. No matter you work or you don't work, you can stay back in Hong Kong for additionally 2 more years time. And this is the beyond classroom activities. You can visit our website to know more, Agora, something student-led activities for Christmas, for New Year, very good. But you look at the website. Finally, okay, final one slide. If you are interested, you feel the program is the right program for you, you want to join in the upcoming September 2026. Basically, these are all the general admissions requirements. The most important part is number 5. Shortlisted candidates will be invited for the admissions interview. Okay, we normally require for the degree. If you have more than 2 years of work experience, we don't require for GMAT or the GRE. In case you didn't study in a university, the language is taught in English, for your bachelor, for your master's degree, you have to provide IELTS, TOEFL, or we also accept from mainland China the CET6, 英语六级, the English result. Okay, but you can provide it later at a later stage. You don't have to provide that during your applications. You can provide that later. Go through the admissions process, go through the interview process. If let's say you are good, we give you a conditional offer. You can provide your GMAT, provide your TOEFL later on. Next round, deadline is on 28th of February. That means this Saturday. Okay, please apply my humble advice as soon as you can. Our application fees is just only about $800 Hong Kong dollars and $100 USD, which is extremely reasonable. Why I said apply as soon as possible? We already got about 30 to 40% capacity right now for the full-time program. So please, if you think this is a wonderful program for you, apply as soon as possible. And tuition fees is about 540,000 Hong Kong, 70,000 USD roughly. And we offer scholarships, and you don't have to apply for the scholarship. That would be an automatic process for the elite and diversity scholarship. Okay, so this is the some QR code. You can download the brochures. You can have a one-on-one consultations with Agnes, with my colleagues Billy, if you are interested to do a one-on-one session. And without further ado, let me pass over the time to Agnes and 3 of our very supportive alumni, Chris, Taylor, and Glenn, for your wonderful sharing of the experience with our prospective applicants. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom. I'm sure everyone now has a deeper understanding of our MBA program. So if you have any questions, as mentioned by Tom just now, feel free to request a one-on-one consultation with us through our website, and our team will answer to your specific questions or based on your profile to give you more support in details. So moving on to our second section of today's webinar, may I invite our MBA alumni to give a quick introduction of themselves. So maybe please share your name, your graduating year, and your current roles.
All right, I will go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Glenn. I graduated in 2022, I believe, and I'm currently a financial services consultant at Capco. I'll tell you a little bit more about my story and my background, but I'll give the other guys a chance to introduce themselves first.
Thank you, Glenn.
All right, I guess I can go next. I'm Tyler. I also graduated in 2022 from the part-time MBA program. And I'm currently working for a financial technology company, WeMatch.
Hey everyone, my name's Chris. I graduated as a full-time MBA student in 2024, and I currently work as an account manager here in Hong Kong at the American Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Glenn, Tyler, and Chris. So let's begin by going back to like the very start of your journey. So could you guys take us back to when you considered to take an MBA program? What was your motivation, and what make you make the choice of choosing CityUHK?
Shall I go first? Yeah, I'll take one for the team, guys. So if I take you back in terms of where I was, right? I'm originally from Europe. I was looking for a technology company. I was very happy with what I was doing, and I was very happy in the place there or where I was. But especially around the time where COVID was taking place, it was a good moment for me to really reflect on, let's say, the next 5 to 7 years in terms of my career goals. And 3 of those goals that I had was, one, to live and work in Asia, Two, to switch over from the technology industry into more consulting type work. And three, I wanted to do my MBA as well. So actually, I had this plan where if I started at CityU first to do my MBA and then obtain my working visa as such, I could then apply for jobs over here and actually knock all three of them out of the park that way. So one of the decision criteria that I used at that time was whether I would go full time or part time. For me, it was a very clear decision because you cannot come over on a part time degree. So it had to be a full time degree. Now, that really aligned with the goals that I had because, as much as the respect that I have for guys like Tyler that have done the part time program, it can be really intense, right? Because you got your full time job, and then after your day of work, you would still go into your classrooms. For me, I really wanted to take a time to kind of take a step back from my career and build that larger perspective. So to really grow my skill set and be fully focused, fully committed to it. So over the course of time, what I've done is that as I was doing the program, actually I should start off with how I got to CityU. One of the deciding factors for me to choose CityU was because when I was comparing all the different universities out there in Hong Kong, the program at CityU allowed for more concentration flexibility. And that's really what I was looking for. I wanted to do technology. And actually, as I was doing the program over the course of time, I had some spare time because it was really driven. I was taking courses over the weekends as well. And I actually did a second concentration on top of it, squeezed into a year and a half's time. So it's feasible actually to do 1.5 years and two concentrations if you're really dedicated and if you're really committed to your program. Now, as I came in and I completed the program, I was able to subsequently switch over into consulting. I started in Big Four first, then I switched over to a financial services focused company. Right now, as my role as a manager within that company, there are still many things that I switch back to in terms of the skill sets that I built throughout the MBA program. But I'll tell you guys more about that in a second. So with that, I'll just take a pause for a second and pass it over to one of the other guys.
Thank you, Glenn.
Guess we can go in the same order then. Yeah, so what was my motivation for getting an MBA? I guess it was a little bit vain, you could say. I really like the sound of just having an MBA. So initially it was just, to be fully honest, it was purely to kind of pad my resume. I was already working in Hong Kong. But actually, what kind of pushed me to CityU in particular was my boss, who was the chairman of a family office in Hong Kong. I really looked up to this guy, and he, was a really great mentor to me. He was doing his DBA at CityU. So he was the one that suggested, hey, this is a great school. You should check them out. They're kind of recruiting for the MBA program. And just like Glenn, it was during right around COVID time. So I figured it was kind of a good use of my time to take on this pursuit, which for me it was also a lifelong dream, anyways, to have an MBA. So the timing just felt right, and yeah, I've always enjoyed school, so I thought this was a great place to network and meet like-minded people. So that was kind of some other motivations that really pushed me to complete an MBA. Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, so I guess like for myself, I would have a similar trajectory to Glenn. So I was living in Canada prior to arriving here in Hong Kong in 2023, and I was working for a large American tech company that was within the healthcare space in Toronto. Um, my aspiration was to leave that industry. I did not like working in tech. I did not like working in tech sales. So I began thinking of how I can start to, like how Glenn did, start hitting different nails and then start, what are my career goals and how am I going to start executing on these goals that I have for myself in the next 5 to 10 years. So that being, getting a master's degree, an MBA, and then also transitioning from the tech space into a space that I was more interested in, which is what I'm working in now. But I frankly did not know the space existed before coming to Hong Kong. Anyways, we can get to that later. So for me, it was, I wanted to relocate to Hong Kong for, various reasons. So like Glenn, I started looking at the different programs that were offered here in Hong Kong. People have varying reasons to why they will choose an MBA program, but I think it's important to go through the curriculum and then also to understand the different professors that are teaching the courses as well. So going through and looking at all the different variables for what is built into the CityU MBA here, it was the best fit for me at that moment in time for choosing different programs here in Hong Kong. So to kind of echo Glenn's point earlier, for if you are a foreign national who's coming to Hong Kong to study, you essentially have one choice, right? Which is the full-time MBA. So I didn't have a choice like Tyler where I could do a part-time. So full-time was the only option. It is a large commitment. I think Glenn and I can, kind of speak to that there's a lot of work that's compressed into 1 year. For example, in Canada, MBAs are 2-year programs, but in Hong Kong, if you look at the different universities, they're all done within 1 year. So it's great because it's only 1 year of pain, but it's a lot more pain. So be prepared to do work, but it's fun. I had a great time doing my MBA.
Thank you for sharing your initial motivations, and all you guys have mentioned that how the MBA have helped your in moving from your original industry into a career path that you are looking into. So that's great. And as you mentioned that like the full time as international students you have to do the full-time program. So for this year, if you remember, Tom mentioned that we have a full-time weekend mode. So if you really want to do an intensive course while you work in Hong Kong, this is one of the chances where you can work on Monday to Fridays and then come to school on weekends and doing some electives during the daytime. So it would be a very huge commitment. However, it would be easy for like students coming from like nearer to Hong Kong, maybe from the Greater Bay Area. This is a choice that you can take. So let's move on to the next question. So we can pivot to the practical side of things. So in terms of the day-to-day applications, are there any specific skills, mindset that you have developed during the MBA program that you use a lot in your current role or like is very helpful for you?
Absolutely. I've got an idea that I would like to share. I'm curious to hear what Chris and Tyler think as well. But for me, it's really around the quantification of business cases. So once again, I work in consulting. My current project is with a global insurer who's positioned here in Hong Kong. We're currently scoping out opportunities for AI use cases to introduce those within contact center and policy servicing. What this means when you come in with that perspective is that whenever you sell a story to a client, it doesn't matter whether your product is technology, whether your product is a service, regardless of that. Whenever you sell a story, it has to be quantified. So the C-level, whether that's a CEO, CTO, CEO, whoever sits in front of you, they're going to be interested at the end of the day, what is my ROI? Why should I invest $1 in this, and what is the return in that case? So what I really loved throughout the program in itself is that there was a common thread or a consistency whenever you're doing, let's say, some of the business cases that we did in the global business management course, or whether it was the capstone course around strategic management, where you really take a look at how do you build business cases, how do you sell an idea to a customer, and quantification of that is really essential in terms of can you find a small let's say, example of if you're doing operational efficiency uplift in terms of a task that's being automated, how can you amplify that and convert that then to a cost reduction? There's various different ways that help you to quantify value and that quantify benefits. But for me, that was definitely a common skill set. So I'm happy to see in the opening presentation as well that this is a core focus of the program still, because it helped me a lot in my practical jobs. Yeah. What about you, Chris, Tyler?
Yeah, I guess just going off of that, my kind of takeaway as kind of a valuable skill is very similar, and I think it was developed, like you said, through those case studies, which is critical thinking. So in school, you're often given a theory or a concept, but as you mentioned, with a case study, it's really, taking that theory and then how do you apply it in today's society, and especially with new innovations, new technology. That gives you a lot of kind of opportunities to apply that theory that you've learned in the classroom or elsewhere into a real life kind of perspective. So for me, I was really drawn to, and it stood out for me now that I work in fintech, especially, was the fintech course that we took. Where we had a lot of different guest lectures, hearing from different kind of entrepreneurs and business owners. Um, they would give you kind of their background, their education, their work history, and then what they're doing now, which is, acting as an entrepreneur or a business owner. So you can see you know, just like critical thinking, you can see the theory or the background history, and then how did they actually apply that um, to make a business out of it. And you can apply that, I think, regardless of what your business is. So that was definitely a kind of mindset shift that I learned in the MBA.
Mm. One of the things, just to tie into that, Tyler, one of the things that you said kind of reminded me of something, which was when we're comparing our own academic background, let's say we're all coming from Western educational systems, one of the things that I noticed in the classroom settings is that there's two different types of assignments. One would be more, let's say, math-driven, logic-driven, quantification.
Quantitative, yeah.
I think for a lot of the Western students, that would be kind of like the growth target for a lot of them. This is the area where they want to develop. A lot of the Asian students were a bit quicker in picking up certain concepts. Whereas on the other hand, when it's about rationalizing, building a business case, arguing, building a point of view on value for a business, basically, that's where those two, let's say, different cultures really complemented each other
Yeah,
nicely, because I think a lot of the Western students were very comfortable with that, very quick to pick that up. So for me, it was very fun to see that interchange at different points, let's say in the program, where you work together with certain people and you help each other out and you really form a bond over the course of time to become successful together. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think to like build on just what these two guys have outlined here, right? So like, being in an MBA, doing case studies, being immersed in group work is a challenge for some students, right? Like I come from a business background in my undergrad. I'm not sure for Glenn or Tyler, but I had exposure both from an educational standpoint in terms of work doing group work. And then of course, having 4 years of professional experience, I was used to working in teams, right? But if you are coming from, say, an arts and science background or a job industry where you're, a solo operator, if you're working on an operations team where you're responsible for, your own tasks that have to be delivered, one of the great parts about an MBA then is that you're forced, uh, but in a good sense, to do teamwork and to understand how you fit into a team in terms of delivering a product, coming up with a value proposition, and then ultimately delivering that to your end user, right? Which in this case is your professor. And the great part too about the program having adjunct professors, you're bringing in, real world professionals who work in industry and understand, if they are using Glenn's company as a consultant, they understand, what the procedures are. They've worked with these folks before, so they know what an end product looks like. So it's more mimicked or realistic to what is actually happening in the real world. Probably out of the three of us, I would be on less of the quantitative side and more on the soft skills sides, just inherent to what my job is. But because of my job, I speak to really senior level folks here in Hong Kong, which is probably my favorite part, whether if it's, the chief executive for DFI retail group here in Hong Kong or, the managing director for the region, varying industries, but skills that you can build on in your MBA is how do you present in an effective manner to what I was saying before? How do you really hone in on what your product is or what your company does in terms of delivering value to the client or to the member? Almost all the courses I think I took in the MBA, the one core theme that transcended all of them was you have to do presentations through group work. You can really build on those skills in that if you're coming from an industry or a job where you frankly just don't have the practice. So that would be my 2 cents.
Yeah, those are incredible insights. So we all in the coming year we are doing the career service, which we will bring in like people from the real industry. They will teach you how to present yourself, how workshops on how to express yourself, how to be selling yourself. So it's one of the main things that we will focus on in this year. So looking ahead, as mentioned before as well, CityU is strategically enhancing the MBA program to embed like more STEM, more AI principles into the whole business school. So from your perspectives, how critical is this for the next generation of leaders? Like as our MBA graduates, how do you think this enhancement would make the program more compelling? How would you help in your work or in your career?
Yeah, happy to take the first to kick it off. So let's say from my perspective, as we're doing an implementation for AI right now, I would really encourage everyone to think about the value of AI beyond, let's say, on the one hand, this mystical being that is all-knowing and omnipotent and it can solve every problem, but see it as a very practical application. And then secondly, step outside of the shoes of being an end user of AI. So we're using all ChatGPT in our daily life. Think about it as a tool that can contribute to an organization, whether that is a commercial organization, an NGO, a government body, and have an idea around what would be the different applicational areas. I think if you start with that, just zoning out in terms of where use cases would fit into an organization, that is going to be very beneficial over the course of your career. It ties into one of the things that I would really recommend from, let's say, a personal experience, which is that if you're doing the full-time program, you're taking time out of your career, which is valuable time, to really develop yourself and to go into a kind of a pressure cooker mode and be able to grow throughout that 1 year. If you do that, make sure that you're intentional when you're coming into the MBA program. So what I mean by that is if you have different areas that you find interesting and you want to do a career switch, for example, so like myself or like Chris, if you're considering going into a different industry, this would be your perfect laboratory to start playing around with that industry. You'll have presentations, you'll have business cases, you'll have research proposals that you need to do. Frame them towards the different areas that you're playing with. Because as you're accumulating more deliveries and more projects, your understanding of that industry will grow a lot. Maybe the outcome would be that it's not for you. That is still progress. That's called falsification. That's still a step forward if you know what it's not. But then if there's one of those three that is actually the starting point where you want to focus on as you're coming out of the MBA to say, I'm going to switch to a different industry, and this is what I want to focus on. For example, if that were to be AI, what industry of AI application will we be looking at? What are some of the use cases that we're looking at? What is the value that is being generated? Are we just simply talking about a cost reduction? Are we talking about a risk reduction? Are we talking about increasing revenue? There's various different ways you can apply AI, but see it as a means to an end and try to tie it together with the objective that you have for the MBA program. Try to be intentional when you go throughout your journey.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Definitely, you can get a lot out of being intentional. I think in life in general, actually. So, yeah, I think what are my opinions on this? It's first of all, I think it's a great choice for the MBA to kind of move towards AI as the world is evolving and as these technologies emerge. I think having AI in and of itself would have helped during my MBA, maybe draft some of my ideas, maybe not write all the papers themselves, um, uh, but I think, working in a fintech, you can see AI starting to creep in from all sides. So for example, we have a trading platform for financial institutions, and we've rolled out an AI that will basically help traders make trading decisions. So it's interactive, and it could be as simple as, the trader just asks, you know, tell me what am I doing with this bank currently, and then how can I improve? It could give you alerts, which is kind of quite exciting for us. So monitor Tesla stock and tell me when the trading activity picks up. Stuff like that. So uh, previously, I think a lot of business innovations were, especially in fintech, were around kind of building applications that would help users, but they would be forced to kind of change the way they're doing things to use these new systems. And now with AI, it's kind of the other way around. So with AI now, you can actually ask the chatbot or whatever it is, the interface to kind of work for you. You can tell it this is how I operate. This is my day to day. How can I grow the business? Improve increase my trading book based on how I'm currently operating. So kind of flipping that from you have to change to now asking the models to adapt to you, which I think is quite interesting. And STEM is definitely super important, but it's been around for a while. It's definitely something you see more and more of, kind of on the trading floor. More of the traders now have STEM backgrounds. So as things become more automated and quantitative, it's definitely something that's valuable to have in your experience.
Some very great points. So echo to what Glenn and Tyler just mentioned. And Chris mentioning that learning is the best comes from doing it yourself. So this is why we have the new course which is on AI project this year. So our adjunct professor who is the expertise of all the AI models are going to teach our students like different AI models each class, and they have to write their own model, how they apply these kinds of model in their presentation and do it and present it to all our students afterwards. So we hope that we can share some very nice models with you afterwards. So we often hear that the most transformative learning happens beyond textbooks. So apart from the core curriculum that you did, any very valuable aspects of the MBA experience you have that can share, may it be a global trip, a certain course or project, or the cohorts that you have met.
You go for it, Chris.
Yeah, I guess like for me, thanks, Glenn. I think the probably most transformative course that I took out of the MBA program was in my year, and it was different every single year. It appears that the MBA program is still doing it as well, but it was one of the workshops, global workshops, and I was fortunate enough to partake in a workshop that was done in Shanghai with a local company called BQ or Buy Quickly that is within the fashion industry. And they are a mainland Chinese consulting firm that works with large fashion houses, both from China and then also outside of China. So if you're thinking of the Louis Vuittons or if you're thinking of other large luxury brands, this company would work with them. So we went and worked with this company in Shanghai on the ground for 2 weeks and acted as consultants for different business divisions. So again, this kind of echoes back to the practicality side that is really steamed into the CityU MBA, giving you practical and real world experience. But within those 2 weeks, you are given project, you are given key milestones to meet during those, and you have different meetings with different stakeholders as well that you have to deliver your project to. So accountability is given to each of the students. Because of the condensed or truncated timeline as well, it's long days. It is stressful, but that happens in the real world too. I'm sure Tyler and Glenn both have long days, so it does a good job in stimulating. One thing about Hong Kong or Asian work culture, the days are longer. So if you're like Tyler or Glenn or I, who are from the West, the days or the 9 to 5 is a bit better respected in terms of work hours. Right in Asia, people are on call a little bit longer than where we're from. So for me, the big takeaways was you were actually boots on the ground doing work in charge of deliverables for a company where at the end you had to present to the chief executive of Buy Quickly in front of 200 other staff members from the company, right? It was a 30-minute presentation that you had to walk through. You had to answer certain questions. And to what Glenn was saying and what both these two guys do on a daily basis, you have to show why your solution to their current problem is effective and what is the ultimate ROI of implementing your solution. You're convincing them why you are right and what they're doing right now may not be wrong, but it's not the totally the correct answer, which is the point of a consultant. So for me, to go back, is that was probably my best experience and something that I still think back to every so often, and most importantly, the bonds that were created during that trip as well, because it is quite hectic. You become closer with people, and you also share some pretty fond and, by points, funny memories of being stressed out. So pass it over to you, Glenn.
Thanks, Chris. Just in terms of the long work hours, that's definitely true. But I just want to say to my two fellow North Americans over here, it's because we need to accommodate your time zone all the time, guys. That's why.
True.
In regards to no, that really resonates in terms of what Chris was saying. In regards to, let's say, some of the highlight experiences, for me, they're contextualized in three courses, probably. One was around accounting information systems. That was a course in my concentration. It was actually not part of the MBA program, but incredibly useful. Really helped to continue on the accounting business course and then apply that to a technology system. Very good lecturer, great experience throughout. We even spoke about cryptocurrency, for example, throughout as an extension throughout that course. The second one was around information systems, which is part of the core MBA program. So if you do the base program of the MBA, the core program, you'll have a professor who's called Professor Davison, which was an amazing course for me. This is really all about application of technology systems to a business context. So from that perspective, you'll go through certain use cases. You'll never learn what the name is of the client, but it could be, let's say, for example, an IKEA, where people are adopting what's called a shadow system because they currently have an accounting system that doesn't fit the need of the user. Therefore, the user refuses and rejects to use that system, starts building offline Excel sheets, et cetera, which then develop into their own macros enabled, let's say, semi-system. There's a couple of really interesting stories there, and it helps to really apply technology to a business context. And that is a common thread for everybody throughout their careers. You will be working with technology. Last but not least, one of the highlights for me, especially without a doubt, the innovation course taught by David Charon from UC Berkeley. So for me, as the cohort that was during the pandemic, we did not have the opportunity to go to California. However, throughout the online courses that we had, this was still definitely one of the highlights. You'll have speakers that are based and rooted in terms of their careers in the technology environment of Silicon Valley. We spoke to people that worked at Google. We spoke to people that taught at MIT. We spoke to venture capitalists. And this was really a good course for anybody who has an entrepreneurial curiosity. If you're interested in terms of how do you bring a product to market from the very early stages of developing and designing your product proposition, the supporting technology infrastructure, the go-to-market strategy, so your marketing plan, these are all components that were captured over there. So for me, without a doubt, especially because of the international connection as well, UC Berkeley can definitely recommend that to any incoming student.
Yeah, that UC Berkeley course was amazing, and we didn't even get to go to the States. So I think that tells you everything you need to know. You know, if it's that impressive doing it online,
Do you
yeah, it
remember,
was
Tyler, what was the product that you guys developed? Do you remember from the top of your head?
it was a cooking. It was a delivery service for kind of like Panda Mart or Deliveroo or one of those, but specifically for fresh local ingredients for cooking. So fruits and vegetables and locally sourced produce, that sort of thing.
Okay, interesting. So I
Yeah,
was just thinking back about it. Our project was focused on targeting the elderly demographic within China to
yeah,
set up a service that provides engagement through different types of exercises, whether that would be music, games, any type of, let's say, mental and physical exercise in order to build community. So ours was way more, let's say, NGO focused, supported by government funding and things like that. But still, to work on something like that while being in Hong Kong together with students from all over the region was, yeah, was a great experience.
definitely.
Um, I'm glad like all these experience left a lasting impression for you guys. So UC Berkeley is always our most popular trip, so we definitely will have it in this year and maybe the next year. So building on this, how has the MBA program equipped you on like how you handle challenges? Like as mentioned, like it's very fast-paced business environment in Hong Kong. So maybe different from where you were. So how did you like tackle or handle these like new challenges?
So from my perspective, coming in from Europe, I was in Spain before. One of the things that really supported me in terms of tackling challenges, I think, is around the landing within the Hong Kong work environment. So if you were to come over straight and direct, like the guys already mentioned, you'll notice some differences around, for example, working hours. But it's a life enriching experience on so many levels, in the sense that your environment will be completely different. You'll work with a completely different set of stakeholders. Your colleagues will be from different parts of the region as well. A while back, I was working at a insurer and we were setting up a global transformation office, which means that you're reporting into 16 different countries from Asia around your strategic returns of investment, so projects that were ongoing. Now, when you're coming in fresh from Europe or the West and you land in an environment like that, you're going to notice that it's quite high pressure and it's quite intense. But this is also one of the, I would say, the fascinating factors about working in Asia. You're constantly in environments where companies are performing different types of leapfrogs, where they have an opportunity to grow, let's say, 5 years of experience, probably crammed into 1 year. And that environment is great. You're dealing with hyper growth. And as let's say, an outsider coming in, this is really going to give you thick skin, grow a massive skill toolkit for you. But at the same time, you need to be ready to really give it all your best. So throughout the MBA program, like Chris mentioned earlier, it's the full-time program can be very intense, and it will give you a very good preparation to notice what is the pace that you'll be required to work at going into the job market afterwards again.
Yeah, and then just adding on that, I guess my experience was slightly different doing the part-time, which is also fast-paced, but I guess in a different way. So, for example, I would be doing kind of a 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. shift at my full-time job, and then racing to CityU for 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Of schoolwork. So that luckily that was only on Wednesday nights, and then we had a weekend class. I know now it's slightly different, so it would be I guess working Monday to Friday, and then on the weekends. But still, nonetheless, you're juggling two very intensive things. So what does it teach you? It teaches you kind of, how do you handle stress? How do you prioritize? What is important? And, how do you work efficiently to get the job done? Because I think us as humans, we will get whatever we need to do done. It's a matter of fitting it into the time slots and prioritizing what's important. So I guess kind of the framework for me was really pattern recognition as a trader, but I think in any profession and in life in general. And the MBA is great at this. You're analyzing situations. We talked about case studies or whatever it is from different angles. There's a financial aspect towards any decision. There's the human component, which can also be its own challenge. So, getting the reps in to kind of seeing these patterns and how do you get to the desired outcome. That pattern recognition will help you be successful, I think, in any field, in any job. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Glenn and Tyler has said for me here. So I don't want to be too repetitious in what I say next, because it would be a repeat of what these two guys said. But to use a metaphor from English, the MBA program, if you're applying as a foreign national into the program, is a good way to think of it as a swimming pool, right? So in a swimming pool, you have a shallow end and then you have a deep end. If you are new to Hong Kong, if you're new to the working culture, and the living culture here in Hong Kong as well. The MBA is a good way to go through the shallow end, and then eventually, once you complete it, you are fully entered into the deep end. Hong Kong is a busy city. It's a hectic city. It's incredibly cramped, but it's incredibly efficient as well. And that is replicated through the job market and industries here. High pressure, high stakes, but high rewards as well. Hong Kong is also, should be noted, a great city to live in as well. For traveling
Yeah.
to other parts of the region, if you're going to mainland China, Southeast Asia, and so forth, it's a good place to be.
And like for Hong Kong, it's relatively more international compared to other like Chinese cities. So I guess coming to Hong Kong in the beginning, it should be very adaptive for you as we are very English friendly everywhere with English signs. So there's no worries in living in Hong Kong. So I hope this is not a concern for any of our prospective students. So thank you for all the wonderful insights. So finally, for our prospective students watching right now, so is there one piece of advice that you want to give them and any tips that you want to share with them for joining the MBA program in Hong Kong?
Yeah, from my side, it would be what I mentioned earlier around the intentionality. Like you will get as much out of the program as you're willing to put in. So let's say if you're coming in and you're not really sure this is definitely possible, but as you're going throughout the program with the different and you're starting to tick off different subjects within your curriculum, you will be at the end of your program quite quickly because the time just kind of goes so fast. Therefore, my recommendation would be the phase that you're at right now, joining different sessions, looking at the different universities is critical to have a running start when you come in and start doing the MBA. So imagine when I joined, I had an idea around where I wanted to go with consulting, and I applied that in different levels. For example, who do you want to work with on your group assignments? There was somebody who had a very strong finance background. There was somebody who came from banking. I was the technologist. We had people that were core in quantitative. Then we were looking for somebody that had more marketing skills. So even in that case, when you have an idea around what you want to do, and you have built or recruited your team, let's say, when you do your assignments, you can always propose that, like, hey, I'm very interested in AI applications for autonomous vehicles or machine learning algorithms that support investment technology tools like Tyler's company does, for example. Um, that way, it's really going to help you to accelerate, let's say, to work in the areas where you want to be. So that would be my recommendation.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah, building off that, definitely for me, the advice would be meet a new person every class. So I guess that could also be in another way, just having intention. The intention being, um, a huge takeaway from the MBA should be, um, have I, improved my network, both in terms of the number of people I know and more importantly, the quality. Um, One of the key aspects for me, actually, going back to the previous question, was the people that I met. So I'm happy to say both Chris and Glenn, I've kept in touch with them after the MBA program. I still reach out myself to people on LinkedIn, as well as getting private messages from people, either past alumni or prospective, future MBA students. And so the network is vast. I would say the bottom line is talk to people. This is an environment where you all share something in common. So I would say it's a lot easier to kind of make those connections. And you never know, right? They could be kind of some, mid-level employee when you're going through the program. And then in 10 years' time, they could be, your co-founder or a hiring manager. So that network is really important. Yeah, that would be my.
Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, I think to build on what both Glenn and Tyler said previously, being intentional and then also putting in effort into the program as well. Your ROI will be entirely based on how much effort and how much dedication you put into the program. The MBA program, through Tom and Agnes will do a great job in, putting together a curriculum and putting together different programs and events for the students to participate in. But the key word in that is you have to participate, right? And the other part of an MBA that is, arguably the most important part is the network, right? You don't know who's in your class today and where they will be at in a few years. To give an example, if I could just do this quickly. In my cohort, there was someone in my cohort that worked at a very large Chinese EV company, and I shouldn't say the city. Anyway, somewhere in mainland China. And I built a relationship with her, and I still have that relationship today. But recently, we were working with a large American insurance company that was sending a trade delegation here to Hong Kong as senior executives. And one of the places that they wanted to go to in the mainland was this particular company. And we went through all official lanes of communication to set up this meeting with these executives, and were denied access to this company. So as a last ditch of hope, I WeChatted this person and we got everything set up in 3 days. So that is the power of the network. And if you do meet people and you do build these relationships, it will help you in your work. And frankly, if you want me to put a dollar value to it, this insurance company was giving a large sum of money for us to help them with this delegation. So there you go.
Thank you so much to our 3 alumni tonight for your fantastic sharing. So for your genuine stories and experience, I hope all our prospective students understand the program more from the graduates. So your journeys are very powerful testaments for our experience at CityU. So for our attendees today, we will now move on to the Q&A section. If you have any questions, feel free to raise to our alumni and Tom. You may raise your hand and I will allow you into the chat. Any questions from anyone? If there are no questions, so Tom, do you want to wrap up for
Sure.
the
Thank you.
webinar?
Thank you, all of you, and sharing your really a very relevant experience, I think, especially for some of I can see the names, okay, from the name list, from the participants, not basically a Chinese family name or maybe a Hong Kong Chinese family name. I think that would be something very valuable. You guys talk about touch upon a lot of different areas about the programs, about the global immersive experience, about the skill set you gain in the program. And this is exactly what we're trying to do our best. As doing an MBA program and doing a full-time program, you don't have to forget one thing. You have a high opportunity cost. We totally understand, okay? It is not just about the tuition fees, 70,000 USD you pay to CityU. You have 1 year salary forgone, okay? You take the risk to come to Hong Kong, but have all the free precedents, right? A successful case study. Okay, so they mentioned about their journey, their career journey, their study journey with CityUHK. I think that is something, if you want to take the risk and try to do an MBA, and especially you believe Hong Kong or Asia as the future, maybe 1 or 2 decades, the business gravity moving towards this region, towards this part of the world. And Hong Kong is absolutely one place that we can consider. But our alumni also talk about Hong Kong is not an easy place. Okay, it is hectic. It is not 24/7. Maybe it happened in mainland China, but still 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday. And even now, right? And they are willing to share the experience after the office hour. So something that you have to bear in mind, the ROI, but this is also a very good life transforming experience. I have been with the MBA education for more than 17, 18 years. I witnessed, and tonight I also witnessed another 3 successful examples from a good MBA program like us, like our CityUHK MBA program. I witnessed so many alumni who can achieve the career aspirations from maybe you never think about that before you join the program, and then you achieve quite a lot. But sometimes we can't quantify the achievement just by, okay, I'm now the senior person in a big organization. Okay, so something that you can also think about, hey, my journey was wonderful. I've got many good friends, lifelong friends after the MBA program, still keep in touch. Okay, so like myself, I did my MBA a few years ago. Same story, and I can feel exactly you 3 talk about, you 3 mentioned about the kind of the lessons, the professors, the experience working with different people, group project, some very good students, some very good classmates, some free riders. How do you manage the free riders? And sometimes you can't escape. Okay, your professors assign you with some people, strange people in the same group, but as a human being, you want to try to be in your comfort zone. You want to work with the people from the group 1, the first subject to the last subject. This is, I think, the human tendency. Okay, but be open, just trying to work with different people, meet with different people. I know you work with a wonderful group of people. You know everything. How do they think? How do we divide the works? Who will go for the presentation? Who is really good in maybe grammar checking, or maybe the visual work for the PowerPoint slide? Yes, but trying to work with different people and be a bit more open for not only about your studies, about your future career options, about your exposure in Hong Kong, and the wonderful opportunities we offer to you to US, to Europe, to Alibaba, and to Asia. So once again, I don't want to talk too much about the MBA accents, but a good MBA program really can bring you a wonderful memories and skill set that carry with you for your entire career life. So thank you so much, Glenn, Chris, and Taylor. And if we have time next week, please suggest a time with Agnes. We have to go for a drink together. And especially before, and some other arrangement. So if possible, maybe next week we can do it in Central or maybe MOT. Yes, thank you, Chris. Okay, all right. So pass it back to Agnes. For if any logistics arrangement will be required. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for everyone. So if there's anything, just contact us from our website or our email. Have a good night, everyone. Bye. Thank you.